Hello and good morning. Now I know why most of you are here, and it's to see this pretty face. But later this week, I actually have my first speaking engagement. And a lot of the stuff I'm going to be talking on, I wanted to create content for anyway. So today we're going to mix it up a little bit. So instead of my pretty face, let's focus on these pretty slides. Today we're going to talk about one single word, and I want to help redefine your perception of it. And that word is success. Now, what's the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear the word success? Just in general. And the most common answer is going to be related to money and wealth. And I'm not discounting that. We need that to live in this world. And the more of it that we have, the more doors and opportunities it can unlock for us. So, how can we get that easier? How can we make that come to us? Now, if I were to ask you, what does personal success look like to you? All of your answers would be completely different. And these thoughts on success, they're going to come from two different books. The first one is called The Go Giver. Now, if you haven't seen it or heard of it, it's a fun, quick, easy read. It's a fictional story about a sales guy. And literally, I read the book in a single day. And if you haven't heard of it, check it out because it's a great story. But in the book, it talks about these five laws of stratospheric success. Now, it applies it to that of a salesperson. However, these laws are so powerful and so true. If you live these laws and practice these in your everyday life, this is the keys to having a successful life. So, going through them, the law of value. Your true worth is determined by how much more you give in value than you take in payment. It's just saying to over deliver without expecting anything in return. And I'll use an example. Let's just take your job, for instance. Most of you has colleagues and coworkers. You have the same job title, you have the same responsibilities, and probably the same pay. Person A goes above and beyond, does more than what is expected of them. Person B does the bare minimum. They have the attitude, we're getting paid the same way. Why should I put in more? Fair point. But let's say it's time for a promotion. Who's more likely to get that promotion? Person A or person B? Conversely, let's say there's budget cuts and layoffs are about to happen. Who's more likely to get fired? Person A or person B? Just remember to over deliver and continue to show up, and it will repay itself onto you over time. The second is the law of compensation. Your income is determined by how many people you serve and how well you serve them. I'm going to be speaking to a group of graduate students who are all going to be teachers. So I'm going to use the example I'll give to them, but use the same example to your current career or the career you desire to have. They're all going to start out being teachers. They are going to service one classroom. Their income will be related to that. Over time, some will aspire for more. Some of those teachers will become a principal. Now they're servicing an entire school, and their income will be reflected of that. Some of those principals will become a superintendent. Now they're servicing an entire school district. Again, comes with another bump in income. Over time, some of them, their wants and needs may change and decide, I don't want to be a teacher anymore. And some of them may take an uncomfortable jump. Maybe they take a shift into a sales career selling educational software. Now they're being a service to school districts, entire territories, and regions. And some of them have the potential to earn more compensation than all three of those things combined. The law of influence. Your influence is determined by how abundantly you place other people's interests first. Be a we guy and not a me guy. Be selfless. Put other people first. And you do this, you'll have their respect and more things will come into you by putting others' needs ahead of your own. Just be selfless. Law of authenticity. The most valuable gift you have to offer is yourself. Remember that. So many of us try to pretend to be these things that society says we should be. Don't sacrifice who you are. Present that to the world. You'll get a lot more being authentic than you will being phony or fake. And the last one, the law of receptivity. The key to effective giving is to stay open to receiving. Now, me personally, I had the hardest time with this one. And I'll use an example because a lot of us experience this. Somebody gives us something amazing, a grand gesture, and it's like, oh no, I couldn't possibly accept that. And we feel guilty or weird about accepting such a generous thing. But think about it this way. We have all given something like that to somebody else, have we not? When you're the giver, how good does it make you feel? How excited do you get to give somebody else that thing? So stay open to receiving it because if you deny it or say, I can't accept it, you're robbing that person of that feeling. So put the guilt away. Somebody wants to do this for you, and that's fucking awesome. So put your guard down about accepting it and just receive it. Book two is called The Happiness Advantage, and it talks about how happiness and success relate together. Now, I had the privilege of hearing the author lecture on the book and the subject, and basically the entire premise of the book poses this chicken or the egg question. Does happiness lead to success, or does success lead to happiness? And the answer is the first one. Happiness leads to success. This is not coming from me. This is coming from a Harvard study by scientific super nerds. If you are in a happier state, you are more likely to achieve success. So remember to just have some fucking fun along the way. Life doesn't have to be so serious all the time. Remember just to make time in your life for some fun. And this is a written exercise. If you take the time to write this down, I encourage you to do so so it's top of mind. Identify, what makes you happy. People, places, things, experiences, memories. How often are you doing those things that make you happy? If you're not in a happy place, just go do them. What are some things that you're not doing that you know would make you happy if you did? What are the scary things? What are those things that would give you something beyond happiness? Dreams, ideas, desires. And what is holding you back from bringing them to life? What's stopping you? Don't put happiness on a pedestal and stop chasing it. Live in the now, live in the present moment. That is the only moment in time you are ever going to see. And this was a lesson, me personally, I had to learn the hard way. I was somebody who chased happiness. I put it on a pedestal. I'll be happy when I do this. I'll be happy when I get that. I would tell that shit to myself all the time. And by the time that moment came where I did that thing or got that thing that I was seeking, yes, it gave me some temporary joy in the moment. But by the time that I got there, I was already fixated on something else. Well, now that I have this, I'll be really happy when I get that. And I was constantly chasing it, but it was something that I was chasing and reflective of who I was at the time when I would put happiness on a pedestal. But in the present moment, I was not a happy person. And because of that, I chased it. If you shift to be happy in the present, a lot of those things will start to come to you. And the last question, how can you achieve happiness from within? without any kind of external stimulation, this, that, people, places, things. You can do it. Well, there's several ways to do it, but the primary one is just with the power of your mind and your thoughts and where you focus your attention. As a little bonus at the end of this video in the comments, I'm going to give you an example of that. And this is going to be a Tony Robbins 15-minute guided happiness meditation. It's called priming. What he's doing in this, it's a form of stacking, and he's stacking emotions and thoughts based on the subject of happiness. Try it out for yourself. Even if you're not a meditator, give it a chance. Notice how you are going into it and how you feel coming out to it. But that's all for today. Before we go, just drop in the comments. I would love to know where you are with happy presently. Just on a scale of 1 to 10, drop in the comments, how happy are you today? That's all we got. Have a great rest of your day. Take care.